everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Startuprad.io, your podcast show with startup news and interviews from Germany.
Hello and welcome everybody. This is Jörn from Startuprad.io once again for you with an all-exclusive podcast. This time I talk to Luca, co-founder of Penta, Berlin-based fintech. Before that, a little message from our sponsor. Support for this podcast and the following message comes from Slack, where work happens all over the world. No more losing time context switching. More than 1,000 apps seamlessly integrate with Slack. So that's less time jumping between tools and more time to get things done. More at slack.com. And now I would like to welcome Luca. Hey, Luca, how you doing?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you. Just one question out of curiosity. You know Slack.com?
Yeah, absolutely. We use Slack at Penta all day, every day.
You like it?
Yeah, absolutely. We so in Berlin, we have an office in Berlin and as well as an office in Belgrade and just kind of a few more cities around the world. And our whole team communicates over Slack, and it's helped to centralize all the communication within the company.
Yeah, it's the same with us. We're right now spread between New York, where Christian is located, me here in Frankfurt, and Jacob. You hear him from time to time on healthcare topics. He's right now writing his master thesis in Moscow, and we still keep in touch with Slack. So I actually like the tool. Nonetheless, we are here because you're co-founder of Penta, Get Penta. Many listeners won't know we did like a very long interview with you. It actually, I do believe the actual time we've been online spread like 2.5 hours. And we made two, let's say more or less short episodes about it that we posted. I do believe it was approximately the same time last year, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it was sometime around now, actually. Yeah.
Well, bottom line is you have been an entrepreneur pretty early. I remember you told me you were selling sneakers on the streets of New York, and you also claimed to have paid taxes for it. You've been an entrepreneur with a VC-funded startup where you have been talking about how you did all this traveling around and focusing on the wrong stuff. Pretty interesting interviews. We'll, of course, have the links in the show notes here. And now you're with Penta. Can you talk a little bit about what Penta is, like a very short version, and then we get into our exclusive content?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that don't know, my name is Luca. I'm a co-founder and head of growth at Penta. What is Penta? So before I get into what Penta is, just briefly, is that we've all had startups, my co-founding team and I, and we realized how much business banking can suck. So we essentially set out to build a digital bank originally that helps make the lives of founders easier. So ultimately, we want to build a bank account that helps you sign up in a couple of minutes and gives you access to the tools you need to spend less time banking and more time focusing on your business. So today we're announcing that we're live in Germany.
Oh, you're live in Germany. Okay, I see. That's pretty cool news. How can you actually use Penta? What is your target customer looking like?
So our target customer are high-tech companies, 2 to 30 employees, or even a bit above that. And they're based somewhere around Germany. So at the moment, we have a little over 3,000 businesses on the wait list, and we're adding about 150 more businesses or startups every day. It's essentially the same target market and the same type of people that use Slack and Trello, because we want to build a bank account for businesses that's as easy as Slack or Trello.
Mm-hmm. I see. So exactly the right sponsor for this show.
Yes. So over the past couple of months, we've been testing with a couple of dozen users, and we've scaled that number to go above 100. And we're doing some testing, extensive testing to make sure that everything at Penta works correctly. And today we're finally announcing that we're live and that we're going to do our best to accept all the businesses on the wait list and everybody who has applied to use Penta.
That is pretty cool. What is the difference between Penta and a normal bank account? And upfront the question, are you a bank now?
Okay, so the last question, we don't have a banking license. Our partner is actually Solaris Bank. It's a Berlin-based German regulated bank. And through Solaris, we're able to provide business banking services. But however, we own the customer relationship. So our customer support is directly within Penta. It's within our team. The banking app is ours. The design is ours. So when you open a bank account, on the back end perspective, you're opening it up with Solaris. But in reality, or actually the only person or the only company or bank you're going to deal with, in a sense, is going to be Penta.
And you believe banking needs to be rethought for the current age, or what was the driver behind initiating Penta?
Yeah, so my co-founders and I, we all had startups in the past. And for example, in one of my first startups, I often had to leave my office in the pouring, freezing rain to walk to the branch to send money abroad. And that used to cost me 4% per transaction. Even before opening the bank account, for example, with Penta, it took us, we essentially tried to open a bank account with 6 banks. And it turns out it's easier to build basically or close to a bank, what Penta is, than opening a business bank account. So it's extremely bureaucratic. Yeah, people often laugh when we say that. So it's extremely bureaucratic, and we realize that if it's quicker to somehow build a bank, then something must really be wrong with banking. So how are we different than normal banks? You can open up a business bank account with us online in just a couple of minutes, and we're completely free to open and free to use. So we're not charging any hidden or crazy fees, and we give startups and businesses, our business customers, 10 free transactions per month, and every transaction after that is 10 cents per transaction. And we're issuing multiple MasterCards for the team. And we're working hard now to integrate services like international transfers, automated accounting, cash flow management and prediction, and similar tools like that.
What can you actually do right now with your Penta account?
So with Penta, you can just cover the basics at this moment. You can send and receive money within the SEPA zone. You have a business MasterCard, and you can open an account in just a couple of minutes online. So this is basically, we're calling this live announcement open beta. So the infrastructure is good, the scalability is good. We've done testing across security and various aspects like that. And now we're looking to scale the product so that you're able to do things like send money abroad to whether that's China or the US, and automate your accounting, automate your invoicing, to really make it easy for you so that you don't really have to do any business banking. You can just focus on just your business while Penta will at least attempt to cover most of the business banking tasks that you have to do as a founder.
So you are basically taking away work from the founders. So automate as much as possible.
Exactly. Our goal is the same as Slack's, just as you mentioned in the beginning. We want to help founders and business owners and even teams spend less time doing tedious tasks and more time focusing on their business and executing. So we essentially want to be the Slack of business banking.
Very nice quote. I gotta admit, on the other hand, I do see banks from the inside from time to time, and it's also no fun for them. They basically buried under a mountain of different regulations coming from international oversight bodies like the Basel Council on Banking Supervision, European Oversight and Regulation, where there are 3 entities who make rules to the German level. And basically then there are the auditors who are checking for the compliance with those regulations. And they have to give regular updates to the supervisors and all of this stuff. So the banks, on the other hand, they are bureaucratic, but I can tell you they're not enjoying it. They have to do it. Maybe there's sometimes a better way, but they have to comply with regulations. There's no way around.
Yeah. So the thing is, when you open a Penta account, it's no different than opening up a Deutsche Bank account. We offer as well the European Deposit Guarantee Fund insurance. So Solaris Bank. So your funds are just as insured as in any other regulated banking institution in Europe. You have insurance up to 100,000, just like in any other bank. Or we use bank standard encryption. So basically, I mean, what we're offering is identical to what any other bank would offer. We're just much easier to deal with. We're faster, and I mean, we're in the 21st century, right? We're not stuck in the 20th century like most banks are.
Mm-hmm. I see. And basically, what I understood right now, you're running a current account.
Yes.
Zero control for the client side, and you help them automating tasks related to it, and you have credit cards for the clients, and basically you're a complete online dash app based bank, if I understood right.
Yeah. So at the moment, we've completely redesigned and rethought everything from how somebody can sign up, all the way to dealing or essentially sending money, receiving money, and dealing with the payments and tasks, as well as categorization that somebody does. So from your first point of entry, we tried to innovate on how we can make the sign-up process easier for businesses, because there's often you have to do checks on, or compliance checks on people. How many employees do they have? Who are the shareholders? And we're able to do all of that in just under 20 minutes. So we're actually the first business banking service offered in Germany that's able to do that so quickly and completely online. And actually, we're the first, let's say, banking service or fintech startup that's able to do all these services at once.
And that's basically what you offer right now. I mean, for many enterprises out there would be other services that they would desire, but I assume you're looking carefully at them, how they match your client base, and you would then later on add them.
Yeah, exactly. So we have a huge list of things or features that people are requesting, and we're just looking to see what.
Luca, what was the most surprising feature anybody requested there?
I mean, some of the surprising features were like emojis on bank statements.
You're gonna do that?
Yeah. So I mean, we're thinking of innovative ways to make business banking not just boring and dull, right? But we definitely do have that in our backlog, to have emojis on the bank statements, or even for categories and things like that. I mean, we have to be professional. But I mean, the thing is, people should have fun, you know. It's not just about being a dull, boring, structured, big bank. So it's looking for innovative ways for the tool to be just as easy and comfortable as using Slack, right? Or Trello.
Mm-hmm. You are granting credit or overdrafts on this account?
So this is as well something in our backlog, which we're aiming for sometime in 2018. I don't have a date, but we sat down. So when we started Penta, we sat down and we interviewed 100 startups, exactly in the target market. And we actually thought that one of the biggest problems was going to be overdrafting credit, but we found that the biggest problems are even smaller, but in fact they're bigger. So it's opening up a business bank account really quickly, or sending and receiving money, or essentially giving business MasterCards or debit cards to the whole team with limits and permissions on who can do what. So at the moment, we want to cover the basics to help people do direct debits really easy, reoccurring payments really easy. And then we're going to look into more complex products that we feel we can deliver more value in once we cover the basics.
And just for our listeners, money just appears on your account and money just leaves your account. It looks pretty easy if you have just one account. But Luca, I'm sure you can tell the listeners that it's not that easy, especially if you have like hundreds or thousands of accounts, especially when international transfers get involved, right?
Yeah, so it can get quite complex. I mean, even asking to have a multiple account or like a second account on your bank account from a bank can take anywhere between 2 weeks and 6 months, right? So essentially our goal is to bring down the time of bureaucracy from days down to minutes or maximum a couple of hours, right? So it's so we're instead of having, let's say, 5,000 to 10,000 employees and 5,000 of those being compliance officers, we've limited it to for everything to be technology driven and machine learning driven, so that we can essentially make the best outputs to help people bring down the time of getting the services they need ASAP.
That is very interesting. Were you actually using AI?
So in some aspects, yes. When we're identifying you online, we're using different services to identify your passport. Do you match your passport? How do you look? And in the background, we're doing money laundering checks, as well as other just compliance and heavy, boring regulatory stuff. So we are using some AI and machine learning in the background. However, we want to make that a bit more present on the front end, where we recognize, hey, we see that you're sending a lot of money using this service. Why not switch to, for example, TransferWise, where you can save 5%, right? So we want to introduce this AI or machine learning to be present, so we can help people or businesses save money and automate a lot of those tasks.
If you can really achieve that, that would be something really, really, really cool.
Yeah. So
do you have any timelines? How are you going to approach that?
Yeah. So it's about covering, like I said before, it's about covering the basics, where we say, here's everything you need to do from reoccurring payments and direct debits, some of which you need approval from a normal bank. We just want to introduce that from day one. And once we cover those basics, we're gonna be getting as much feedback as we can. So what we're doing is we're inviting a lot of startups and founders to come directly to our office in Berlin and do usability testing. And through these interviews, we're able to prioritize what's next and what's the most important feature that a business owner will need. So timeline-wise, it's a bit hard to judge that, but we plan to give some transparency on our roadmap in the coming weeks or months, so that we can get more feedback in a more transparent fashion.
And where can the people find the opportunity to sign up or get on your waitlist?
Yeah, so if you go to getpenta.com, you can, at the moment, like I said, we have 3,000 businesses on the waitlist, and we're growing that number exponentially. But we're looking to make sure that everybody can get an account in the next couple of weeks, if not next couple of months. So you can leave your email and hope to receive an invitation sometime after the new year, hopefully sometime in January.
Sounds pretty good to me. Only thing left for me to say would be Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome, and hope to hear back from you soon.
Thanks, Ron. Cheers.